Hello, students. The topic that we are going to cover today is current electricity NCRT exemplar part 2. This is disclaimer. What are the learning objectives of this topic or our today's lecture? You are going to understand the properties and applications of alloys in making standard resistance coils, focusing on their electrical characteristics. You are going to analyze the relationship between potential difference EMF and resistance in electrical circuits through graphical interpretation. You will demonstrate understanding of series and parallel combinations of resistors and cells, including their effect on current flow and potential difference. We are going to calculate and compare the resistance of conductors with different geometrical configuration, solid versus hollow, made of the same material. We are going to solve practical problems involving power consumption, joule heating, and energy transfer in electrical circuits with different conducting materials. You are going to apply concepts of electromotive force, internal resistance, and potential difference to analyze complex circuit configurations. The topic that we are going to cover today is, so in current electricity chapter, there are total 31 NCRT exemplar problems. In today's lecture, we are going to cover 9 problems, 3.17, 3.21, 3.22, 3.24 to 3.26, 3.28, 3.29, and 3.31. So first question, what are alloys used for making standard? Why are alloys used for making standard resistance coils? Okay, so what are standard resistance coils? Whose resistance doesn't change with temperature significantly. And to make standard resistance like 5 ohm fixed resistance, standard resistance coils, why alloys are used? So I will give you some time to think about it. So using concept 17.8, this concept 17.8 is the number in your formula book. So let's see the answer. Alloys have small value of temperature coefficient. Okay, so the alpha for alloys is very small. This means they are less sensitive, temperature sensitive, means their resistance changes with temperature less significantly. Okay, means their temperature, their resistance changes very small as compared to large temperature range. If we are increasing or decreasing the temperature through a large range, their change in resistance will be very small. Okay, so alloys have small value of temperature coefficient of resistance, that is alpha, with temperature sensitivity. Due to this small value of temperature coefficient, the resistance of the wire remains almost constant. Okay, so due to this small value of temperature coefficient, alpha is small, due to which resistance of the wire remains almost constant even in large temperature ranges. Okay, for large temperature ranges, the variation in resistance is very small. Okay, or we can say almost constant. The alloys like manganese and constantan are commonly used for making standard resistance coils, as they have high resistivity and high resistance. Okay, so the alloys manganese and constant have high resistivity and high resistance, due to which they are used for standard resistance coils. Okay, also the alpha temperature coefficient of resistance is very small for these two alloys. That is, R is, we know that resistance is proportional to resistivity. Their resistivity is very high, means resistance is also very high. Okay, so for a small amount of material, for a small wire, the resistance is very high as compared to other materials. So by this thing, by this property, we can save the material. We can use very less amount of material to produce same amount of resistance as other materials. this high resistivity allow for smaller resistor coils. Okay, we can use smaller resistor coils or small amount of material to be used for desired resistance. Okay, if we want to produce 10 ohm with other material like metals, we have to use large amount of material. But for this manganese and constantan, because their resistivity, hence resistance, is very high, so small amount of material can be used to produce same resistance. So the high resistivity allows for smaller resistor coils to be used for desired resistance values as compared to other materials. So next exemplar 3.21. A cell of EMF E and internal resistance R is connected across an external resistance capital R. Plot a graph showing variation of potential difference across R versus R. Okay, so there is a cell of EMF and R, small r internal resistance. Okay, or this battery or cell is connected to external resistance capital R. Now you have to plot the graph of variation of potential difference across R with which versus R resistance. So you have to plot the graph. So I will give you some time to think about it. Let's see the solution using concept 17.13. When the cell of EMF E and internal resistance R is connected across an external resistance capital R. Okay, if this capital R resistance, external resistance, is connected with with a cell of EMF E and internal resistance R in series, the relationship between the voltage and the current across the external resistance R is given by V equal to IR. Okay, let it be first equation. So current is given by, when there is a battery, when there is a cell of internal resistance small r and there is external resistance capital R, then current in the circuit is given by E, which is EMF upon capital R plus small r. Okay, so this capital R plus small r is the equivalent resistance because battery is connected in series with the external resistance. Okay, so the internal resistance of the battery and external resistance are in series. So they can be algebraically summed up like this, capital R plus small r, and E is the EMF of the battery. So current is given by capital E upon capital R plus small r. Mark it as second equation. Now put equation 2 in 1. So we will get V equal to capital E upon 1 plus small r upon capital R. Okay, so put the equation second in first, and after solving or somewhat arranging the equation, you will get V equal to capital E upon 1 plus small r upon capital R. Okay, now we will draw the plot. So now with increase of R, if we are going to increase capital R in this equation, above equation, if we are going to increase the capital R, the value of R upon capital R approaches to 0. Okay, as we are increasing the capital R, denominator is increasing. Okay, numerator is constant. So as denominator is increasing, the value will go up, approaches to 0. And V becomes, if this small r upon capital R is approaches to 0, then this V will approach to E. Okay, V becomes closer to E because this R upon capital R is tending to 0. So if it is tending to 0, then only 1 remain in the denominator. So in numerator there is E. So we will get close to the E. For R is infinite, when R is infinite, if capital R becomes infinite, so small r upon capital R becomes 0. Okay, this ratio will become 0 because R is infinite. So this will become 0. At this condition, V will become equal to E. if small r upon capital R will become 0, then in denominator there is 1 and in numerator there is e. So v will become equal to capital E. Okay. So if r is infinite. So now with these 2 points, we will draw a plot. The graphical relationship between voltage across R and resistance capital R is given by this. Okay, so this is the plot. At y-axis, we are taking potential difference V across the resistance R, and in x-axis, we are taking the resistance R. Okay, as we are increasing the capital R from last 2 points, as we are increasing the capital R, the V will approaches to E. V will tends to E. When R is infinite, okay, R becomes very large or infinite, then this V will become equal to E. Okay, so this is the plot. Why the shape of this plot is not a straight line? Because there is changes in the denominator. So small r by capital R, and that capital R is changing, due to which this is not a straight line relation. Relation of V and R is not straight line because they are not directly proportional. Okay, R is in denominator, small r by capital R. Okay, so that R is increasing, due to which that V is increasing and it tends to capital E. When R becomes infinite, then this V will become equal to E. Okay, from last 2 points. Next question, short answer type questions. First, a set of n equal resistors of capital R. Okay, there are n equal resistors of capital R. Each are connected in series. Okay, so their resistances are capital R and there are n equal resistors. Firstly, they are connected in series to a battery of EMF capital E and internal resistance R. Okay, now a current I is observed to flow. There are 2 cases. Firstly, we have n identical equal resistors of resistance R. Each, then there are 2 cases. First case is, then they are connected in series. In first case, they are connected in series to a battery of EMF E and internal resistance capital R. Then a current I is observed to flow in a series connection. Now, these n resistors are connected in parallel. In second case, they are connected in parallel to the same battery, which is having EMF capital E. It is observed that the current is increased to 10 times. Now in parallel combination, current is increased to 10 times as compared to the current in series. What is N? We have to determine. Means how many resistors are there? We have to determine. So I will give you some time to solve it. Let's see the answer. Using concept 17.7.1, 17.7.2, and 17.13. What is the thinking process for this question? Here in series combination of resistors, the equivalent resistance of series combination is in series with the internal resistance R of battery. Okay, since battery is connected with this series combination of resistors, so the equivalent resistance of this series combination is in series with the internal resistance of the battery. Okay, even in the parallel combination, the equivalent resistance is in series also. Okay, because battery is connected with the combination of resistors. If we are taking the combination of resistors as one resistor, okay, in parallel or series both, so this combination will be connecting in series with the internal resistance R. Means in series with the battery. Internal resistance is of the battery or cell. Okay. So here in series combination of resistors, the equivalent resistance of series combination is in series with the internal resistance R of the battery. In parallel combination also, the equivalent resistance of parallel combination is in series with the internal resistance capital R of the battery. Got it? Generally, current I through the circuit in both series and parallel combination is given by this. Okay, so you also know that current in the circuit, when there is a external resistor and battery of internal resistance is there, then current is given by E upon what is E? EMF of the battery upon R. Here capital R is internal resistance. Generally, we take the notation as small r, but in question it is given internal resistance as capital R. So we will take capital R here. So capital R is internal resistance here plus R equivalent. R equivalent is equivalent resistance of combination. It will be different in series and parallel both. Okay, for series it will be different, for parallel it will be different. Okay, so current will be according to that R equivalent. That capital R internal resistance and that E will remain same in both the cases, but that R equivalent will vary. In series combination of resistors, equivalent resistance is given by R equivalent equal to NR. If N identical equal resistors are connected in series, we know that we can say the equivalent resistance is algebraic sum of all the resistance. If all the resistors and resistors have resistance R, so R plus R so on up to Rn. So n number of R resistors, their equivalent resistance will be NR. Simple. Okay, so in series combination of resistor, current I is given by, now put the R equivalent in that formula for current. So I will become capital E upon capital R plus R equivalent here is NR. Okay, take the R common from denominator. You will get capital E upon capital R in bracket 1 plus N. Mark it as first equation. Now, whereas in parallel combination of resistors, equivalent resistance is given by R equivalent is equal to R upon N. Okay, we know that how 1 by R equivalent equal to 1 by R, 1 plus 1 by R plus 1 by R, so on up to 1 by Rn, nth R. Okay, so all the resistors have same resistance R. So it will become N by R. 1 by R equivalent will become N by R. So after reciprocating the equation, R equivalent becomes R by N. Okay, this is simple formula. You can also do with the from basic formula of R equivalent. But it is known that if N equal resistors of R resistance is connected, okay, then R equivalent will be for series NR, for parallel R by N. Okay. In parallel combination, now it is given that in parallel combination current is increased to 10I. Okay, you can see why current is increasing 10 times, because resistance is decreasing or increasing in parallel combination. Resistance is decreasing. Okay, in series combination resistance is more. In parallel combination resistance becoming less. That's why current is increasing 10 times. So in parallel combination current is 10I. So now put this value of current and R equivalent in the formula for current. You will get 10I equal to capital E upon R plus R equivalent. R equivalent here R by N. And current I here 10I. Equal to, take R common. Okay, take R common from denominator. So E capital E upon R plus 1 by N. Mark it as second equation. In first equation, what was in bracket? 1 plus N. Now in second equation, what is in bracket? 1 plus 1 by N. Okay. Now this second equation is. Now you will take ratio of these both equations, first and second. So now divide 2 by 1. So you will get after dividing 2 by 1, 10i upon I, you will get 10. And after their dividing their right sides, you will get 1 plus n in numerator, and in denominator 1 plus 1 by n. Okay, now after solving it, okay, you can solve now it. In denominator 1 plus 1 by n will go in other side and upon n, and that n will go in numerator. Okay, after solving you can find this, which will become 10 equal to n 1 plus n upon n plus 1. This 1 plus n and n plus 1 is same, so they will cancel out. So n will came out to be n equal to 10. So there are n equal resistors that we are connecting in series and parallel. Okay, 10 equal resistors. Got it? Next question. NCERT example 3.24. The circuit in figure 3.6 shows two cells connected in opposition to each other. Okay, so they are connected, not connected in their EMF is in not in same direction. The current from both these cells will be in opposite direction. They are connected in opposition. Okay, so two cells are connected in opposition. Their negative terminal is connected with each other directly. Okay, what is the right way to connect the cells to get maximum EMF from them? Negative terminal of one cell with positive terminal of another cell. Okay, so in this case, negative terminal of first cell is connected with negative terminal of second cell. In this case, EMF of first cell will be cancelled by second, not completely. Okay, it will depend on EMFs, but it will be, if EMF of first cell is greater, so it will reduce due to the EMF of second cell because they are connected in opposition. Now cell E1 is of EMF 6 volt. Okay, and internal resistance 2 ohm. And cell E2 of EMF 4 volt and internal resistance 8 ohm. Find the potential difference between the points A and B. Okay, now EMF of first cell is greater than the second cell, but internal resistance of second cell is greater than first cell. Okay, you have to find the potential difference between point A and B. So I will give you some time to think about it. So using concept 17.10.1 and 17.16. What is the thinking process for this question? Here, after finding the electric current flow in the circuit by using Kirchhoff's law and Ohm's law, the potential difference across AB can be obtained. Okay, so either you can use Ohm's law, either you can use Kirchhoff's law. Okay, in which you are comfortable. So to find the potential difference between A and B, we are going to use Ohm's law basically. But if you are going to use Kirchhoff law, you can use. So what is the answer? Since cells are in series, okay, cells are connected in series. So their effective resistance will be simple algebraic sum of the internal resistance of both the cells, R1 plus R2, which is 2 ohm plus 8 ohm. So their effective resistance, equivalent resistance will be equal to 10 ohm. So where R1 and R2 are the internal resistance of the cell. Effective EMF of two cells. Okay, we know that effective EMF will get added. Okay, but in this condition, both the cells are in opposition. Okay, they are connected other than the standard condition. What is the standard condition in which we generally connect the cells? negative terminal of one cell with positive terminal of another cell. But in this condition, they are connected in opposition. So EMF will get, the EMF of the second cell will get reversed. We will take it in negative sign. Okay, so E1, because E1 is greater. So of which cell we will get the negative EMF? Okay, the cell with the less amount of EMF will get the negative sign. Got it? So in this problem, E2 has less EMF, 4 volt. E1 has 6 volt. So E2 will get negative sign. So effective EMF of two cells will be E1 minus E2. 6 minus 4, which is equal to 2 volt. Okay, so this the EMF of second cell is cancelling or reducing the effect of first cell. Due to first cell, EMF is 6 volt, but due to second cell, it is minus 4 volt. So it is decreasing the EMF of second cell, and it is decreasing the amount of effective EMF of two cells. So effective EMF of two cells is E1 minus E2, which is equal to 6 minus 4 equal to 2 volt. The electric current through the circuit is given by, okay, now electric current is EMF, net EMF or effective EMF upon effective resistance. What is the effective EMF in the circuit? 2 volt. What is the effective resistance in the circuit? 10 ohm. So 2 upon 10. So what is the current in the circuit? 0.2 ampere according to Ohm's law. Along anti-clockwise direction. Okay. Now current is due to the cell with large amount of EMF. Okay. So direction of current is determined by the EMF of large amount of EMF of the cell. Okay. So it is, since E1 is greater than E2. Okay. In this problem, the EMF of first cell is greater than second cell. So direction of current is determined by the first cell. Okay. So from first cell, it is current is flowing from positive terminal of first cell to the negative terminal of first cell. Okay. So current is due to the first cell. Direction of current is due to the first cell. So it is from positive terminal of first cell and it is exiting from positive terminal or entering in the negative terminal of first cell. So in this circuit, it will be in anti-clockwise direction. Okay. From A point to B point through the E1 circuit, E1 cell. Okay. So this current is in anti-clockwise direction since E1 is greater than E2. The direction of flow of current is always from higher potential to low potential. Okay. We know that direction of current is always from high potential to low potential. Okay. Current is flowing from positive potential to negative potential. Since current is flowing from point B to A, okay, it is flowing from B to A through E2. Okay, in the anti-clockwise direction in the circuit from B to A through E2 cell. Okay, so current is flowing from B to A through E2 cell. So VB is greater than VA. Okay, current is flowing from higher potential. Current always flow from higher potential to lower potential. Okay, since it is flowing in anti-clockwise direction and it is flowing from B to A through E2 cell. So potential of B point is greater than potential of A point. Therefore, potential difference between point A and B is given by. Okay, now see, in Kirchhoff's law, we generally use the voltage law, KVL. It states that voltage potential difference in a closed path in a circuit is 0. Okay, it means potential gains is equal to potential drops in a closed path. This means potential difference is 0. But we are going from point B to point A. Now we are not making a closed path. We are just going from one point to another point. Okay, rules are same. if we are going from positive terminal to negative terminal of battery, its EMF will be written as negative, or potential drop will be written as negative. If we are going in the direction of current through a resistor, then potential drop will be negative. If we are going in the direction opposite to the current through a resistor, then its potential drop will be added. Rules are same. So from point A to B, potential difference will be, at point B, potential difference is VB minus we are going from B to A. Okay, direction of current is also from B to A. We are moving in the direction of current. Firstly, we met battery. We are going from positive to negative terminal of battery. So we will take the EMF as negative. If we are going from negative terminal to positive terminal of battery, EMF will be taken as positive. But we are going from positive terminal to negative terminal of second cell, E2. So E2 will be taken as negative. Minus. Next, what is IR2? I is the current flowing through the resistor. I through the circuit. What is R2? Is the internal resistance of the cell, E2. There is some internal resistance of the cell, E2 na. So there is some potential drop due to internal resistance. Okay. So what is this potential drop due to internal resistance? IR2. And we are moving in the direction of current. So potential drop across the internal resistance will be taken as negative. So minus IR2, which is equal to, now we reach the point A. Okay. Understood? We are starting from point B and moving towards A through cell E2. So at B point, potential is VB. And another potential is, we are going from positive terminal to negative terminal of battery. So we will take E2 as negative. So minus E2. Now there is internal resistance of the battery and we are moving in the direction of current. So potential drop across the internal resistance, IR2, will be taken as negative also, which is equal to, now we reach the point A. So equal to VA. So VB, what is E2? EMF of second cell is 4 volt. And what is I? Current is flowing 0.2 ampere. And what is internal resistance of second cell? 8 ohm. After putting the values, VB minus 4 minus 0.2 into 8 equal to VA. So VB minus VA will become 5.6 volt. So potential difference between A and B will be 5.6 volt. Got it? Now moving to the next question. Two cells of same EMF E but internal resistance R1 and R2 are connected in series to an external resistance capital R. What should be the value of R so that the potential difference across the terminals of the first cell becomes 0? Okay. So this is a similar question from previous question. Okay, but now we have to, what is the condition? Potential drop across the terminals of the first cell becomes 0. So for this condition, we have to find the relation. So I will give you some time to think about it. So using concept 17.10.1 and 17.16, what is the thinking process for this question? Here, after finding the electric current flow in the circuit by using Kirchhoff's law or Ohm's law, okay, the potential difference across first cell can be obtained. Okay, we will use Kirchhoff's law or Ohm's law to find the electric current through the circuit, and then potential difference across the first cell can be obtained. So let's see the answer. Effective resistance in this case, now there is internal resistance R1, internal resistance R2, and there is external resistance capital R. They all are in series. So effective resistance in series will be capital R plus small r1 plus small r2. Effective EMF of two cells. Now cells are connected like the positive terminal is connected to negative terminal of another cell. Okay, so they are connected correctly. So their EMF will get added simply. So E plus E, which is 2E. So the electric current is given by Ohm's law. So according to Ohm's law, what is electric current? Effective voltage upon effective resistance. So 2E upon R plus capital R plus R1 plus R2. Mark it as first equation. The potential difference across the terminals of the first cell is given by, so potential difference across the first cell is given by V1, which is equal to EMF of the cell minus IR1. Potential drop due to the internal resistance. This is the standard formula. Okay, when we are going to use the terminal potential difference. Okay, potential difference across the terminals, that is also called terminal potential difference. It is always less than or equal to EMF. Okay, equal to condition, it is equal to the EMF when there is no current being drawn from the cell or cell is not being used. We have discussed it in detail. So this terminal potential other than that condition is less than EMF. So V1 is equal to capital E minus IR1. IR1 is the potential drop across the internal resistance of the battery, equal to E minus, put the value of I in this equation. So 2E upon R1 plus R2 plus R into R1. Now putting it equal to 0. So what is the condition? Potential difference across the terminal of the first cell becomes 0. So put it is equal to 0. So putting this equation V1 equal to E minus 2E upon R1 plus R2 plus capital R into R1 equal to 0. So E will become equal to 2E R1 upon R1 plus R2 plus capital R. So after cancelling the E from both sides, it will become 1 equal to 2R1 upon R1 plus R2 plus capital R. So after rearranging the equation, R1 plus R2 plus capital R become equal to 2R1. And we will get the condition for potential difference across the terminals of the first cell becomes 0. This condition will be achieved when capital R is equal to R1 minus R2. When external resistance become equal to difference of internal resistance of both the cells. So this is the condition for the potential difference across first cell to be 0. So this is the required relation for the potential difference across the terminal of the first cell to be 0. So next question, two conductors are made of the same material and same length. Conductors A is a solid wire of diameter 1 millimeter. Conductor B is a hollow tube of outer diameter 2 millimeter and inner diameter 1 millimeter. Find the ratio of the resistance RA to RB. So I will give you some time to think about it. So using concept 17.8, thinking process for this question is resistance of wire is given by capital R equal to rho L upon A. Okay, so where A is the cross-sectional area of the conductor. So resistance is directly proportional to length, inversely proportional to area of cross-section. So let's see the answer. Area of cross-section of conductor A is given by pi R A square, where RA is equal to 0.5 millimeter. Okay, diameter of first conductor is given 1 millimeter. So radius of first conductor will be 0.5 millimeter, which is 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Resistance of first conductor is calculated as RA equal to rho L, because same material and same length. So resistivity for both the conductors will be same because they are made of same material and same length. So length will be same. So we will put only area here. So area will be pi r square. So RA becomes rho L upon pi RA square. So what is RA? 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3. So RA square. Area of cross section for conductor B is, now it is hollow. Okay, so we have to calculate the area of it. So how area of the hollow wire can be calculated? Equal to pi ROB, that is outer area, outer radius square minus inner radius square, where ROB, outer radius, is given by 1 millimeter, because outer diameter is 2 millimeter. So outer radius is 1 millimeter, 1 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Inner radius is 0.5 millimeter, which is equal to 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. The resistance of the second conductor is given by RB equal to rho L upon pi ROB square, outer radius square, which is 10 to the power minus 3 square, minus inner radius square, means 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 square. Okay, now take the ratio of two resistors, RA by RB, which is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 square minus 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 square upon 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 square. Okay, it will result in 0.75 into 10 to the power minus 3 square or 0.25 into 10 to the power minus 3 square. Okay, so 10 to the power minus 3 square will cancel out and ratio will be 3 by 1. So ratio is 3:1. Got it? So next question, long answer type questions. Two cells of voltage 10 volt and 2 volt and 10 ohm internal resistance, 10 ohm and 5 ohm respectively. Okay, so there are two cells of voltage 10 volt and 2 volt and internal resistance 10 ohm and 5 ohm respectively are connected in parallel with the positive end of 10 volt battery. Okay, in the diagram you can see. So are connected in parallel with positive end of the 10 volt battery connected to negative pole of 2 volt battery. So cells are connected in such a way that positive terminal is connected with negative terminal of another cell. Figure 3.8. Find the effective voltage and effective resistance of the combination. So I will give you some time to think about it. So let's see the solution using concept 17.6.2 and 17.16. What is the thinking process for this question? The question can be solved using Kirchhoff's voltage rule or loop rule. So what we are going to do, applying Kirchhoff's junction rule, I1 equal to I plus I2. You can see in the diagram that I1 is being splitting into two currents, I and I2. So I1 will be equal to I plus I2. Or we can say I2 equal to I1 minus I from above equation. Mark it as first equation. We will use this relation I2 equal to I1 minus I in the upcoming slides. Applying Kirchhoff's voltage law or loop rule, applied in outer loop containing 10 volt cell and resistance R. So outer loop which is containing 10 volt battery and resistance capital R, that is outer loop. Okay, so Kirchhoff's voltage loop rule we are going to apply in the outer loop. So we will get, so now we are moving in the direction of I1 current. We are moving in the direction of I1 current. Okay, so in the battery we are going from negative terminal to positive terminal. So we will take positive EMF 10 volt, and in a resistor internal resistance 10 ohm of 10 volt battery we are moving in the direction of current. So potential drop across this internal resistance will be taken as negative. So minus 10 I1. Now in an external resistor we are moving in the direction of current. So potential drop IR will be taken as negative. So 10 minus IR minus 10 I1 equal to 0. Or by rearranging we can say IR plus 10 I1 equal to 10. Mark it as second equation. Applying Kirchhoff's voltage law or loop rule applied in loop. Now another loop we are considering. which is containing 2 volt battery and external resistance R, upper half loop. So we are applying the Kirchhoff's loop rule in the upper half rule containing 2 volt cell and resistance capital R. So now we are moving in the direction opposite to the current. Okay, opposite to the current I2. We are moving in the direction opposite to the current I2 through the battery. Now we are going from positive terminal to negative terminal of the battery. We are going from right to left. We are going from positive terminal to negative terminal of 2 volt battery. So minus 2 will be taken. Also we are going in the direction opposite to the I2 current. So that internal resistance 5 ohm, potential drop across this internal resistance 5 ohm will be taken as positive. So plus 5 I2. Okay. Now in outer section, in the external resistance R, we are moving in the direction of current I. So potential drop IR will be taken as negative. So 5I2 minus RI or IR minus 2, which is EMF of battery, equal to 0. So after rearranging, put the value of I2 that we calculated in the first slide. I2 is equal to I1 minus I. Put the value of I2 in this equation using 1. 5I1 minus I equal minus RI equal to 2. So 10I1 minus 10I minus 2R1. We are multiplying the whole equation with 2. So it will become 10I1 minus 10I minus 2RI equal to 4. Mark it as third equation. Now solving equation 2 and 3, which will give 3R1RI plus 10I equal to 6. After solving equation 2 and 3, we will get this 3RI. Okay, we have calculated the equations. Now you can solve by any method, displacement, substitution, or any other method you know to solve the equations. So 3RI plus 10I equal to 6. So it will give 2 equal to, after simplifying, 2 equal to IR plus 10 by 3. We are dividing the whole equation with 3. So 2 equal to IR plus 10 by 3. Mark it as fourth equation. Okay, now comparing this fourth equation, as the external resistance R, the Ohm's law states that. So Ohm's law is equal to V equal to I R plus R effective. So what is the formula for current when we connected the battery with the external resistance and battery is having internal resistance small r? It is I equal to V upon capital R plus small r. So V can be written as I into capital R plus small r. Okay. Now in this question, internal resistance is taken as capital R. Sorry, internal resistance is taken as net effective internal resistance of both the cells is taken as R effective, and capital R is taken as external resistance. Okay, so V equal to I capital R plus small r. Okay, so capital R is their external resistance, I is the current flowing through the circuit, but R effective here is effective resistance of due to both the internal resistance of the batteries, that is 5 ohm and 10 ohm. Okay, that R effective is effective or equivalent resistance of both these internal resistances. Mark it as fifth equation. Now compare it with fourth. On comparing 4 and 5, we will get V equal to 2 volt and we will get R effective as effective internal resistance as 10 by 3 ohm. Okay, since the effective internal resistance R effective of two cells is 10 by 3 ohm, being the parallel combination of 5 ohm and 10 ohm. Okay, it is the parallel combination. They are connected in parallel combination. Both these cells are connected in parallel combination. Okay, so their effective resistance we can find by other method also, but it has come out like this by comparing the equations. So 10 by 3 ohm. The equivalent circuit is given below. Now this equivalent circuit can be written as that thing. So equivalent of both these cells is V effective. So we have calculated the V effective also. What was the V effective? 2 volt. Due to this 2 volt and 10 volt battery, the effective voltage is 2 volt. And due to this 5 ohm and 10 ohm, the effective internal resistance is 10 by 3 ohm. Okay, so equivalent circuit can be drawn as that. Okay. Now next question. A room has AC run for 5 hours a day at a voltage of 220 volt. The wiring of the room consists of copper of 1 millimeter radius and a length of 10 meter. Power consumption per day is 10 commercial units. What is unit? Kilowatt hour. Okay, 1 unit is 1 kilowatt hour. What fraction of it goes in the joule heating in wires? What would happen if the wiring is made of aluminium of the same dimensions? Okay, firstly, we have taken the copper wire. Okay, so AC runs 5 hours a day with voltage 220 volt. The wiring used in AC is of copper of 1 millimeter radius and length of 10 meter. Now we have to, the power consumption per day is given 10 commercial unit. Then we have to calculate the fraction of it goes in the joule heating in wires. That means due to the heating of wires, the power dissipation or energy dissipation in the form of heating, we have to calculate. So what fraction of what fraction of the power is going in joule heating? And now second condition is, what happen if the wiring is replaced by aluminium of same dimensions, length and radius is same. Okay, but their resistivity will differ. So resistivity of copper is given 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter, and resistivity of aluminium is also given 2.7 into 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter. So let's see the solution. So using concept 17.5 and 17.8, what is the thinking process for this question? The power consumption in a current carrying resistor is given by P equal to I square R. I is the current flowing through the circuit, R is the resistance of the wire. So answer is, length of the wire is given 10 meter, radius of the wire is given 1 millimeter, that is 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Power consumption in a day. What is power consumption in a day? When we use in means 5 hours. We use AC for only 5 hours a day. It is given in the question. For a day, power consumption is 10 units. Okay, power consumption per hour, because we are using for 5 hours. So for in a day, we are using for 5 hours. For day, it is 10 units. For per hour, it is 2 units. So power consumption per hour is 2 units. So power consumption is 2 units, which is equal to 2 kilowatt hour. Okay, which is equal to, so power consumption is 2 units equal to 2 kilowatt equal to, okay, in energy terms, unit is 2 kilowatt hour. Okay, but we are seeing it as per hour. Okay, as if we are talking about energy. Okay, if we took energy consumed, then we will take unit as kilowatt hour. But here we are already taking power consumption per hour. Okay, we are already taken per hour. So that's why we are taking unit as kilowatt only, not kilowatt hour. So power consumption per hour, 2 units. Power consumption 2 units is 2 kilowatt or equal to 2000 watt. Now as we know power consumption in resistor, P equal to V into I. Means what is the power consumption here? 2000 watt. What is the voltage supply in the given in the question? 220 volt. So calculate the current through the wire. So current through the wire is nearly equal to 9 ampere. Okay, now the resistance of the wire is given by rho L by A. L is given 10 meter. Area radius is given 1 millimeter, and rho of copper is also given 1.7 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter. Put these values to find the resistance. So where A is the cross sectional area of the conductor. So power consumption in copper wire is given by PCU, that is power consumption in copper wire, equal to I square R. So power consumption R is rho L by A. So put the rho L by A in this equation. So it will become rho power in copper wire is equal to resistivity of copper wire, rho Cu, L by A, I square. Put the values of rho Cu, that is 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 8. Value of length is 10 meter. And area is pi R square. R is given 1 millimeter. 10 raised power minus 3 meter. So A will be pi into 10 raised power minus 6 and into what was I? I is 9 ampere. So 9 square 81. So power consumed in the copper wire is 4 joule per second, or we can say 4 watt. The fractional loss due to joule heating in the copper wire is given by power consumed in the copper wire, power loss in the copper wire upon total power consumed in per hour into 100. 4 upon 2000 into 100. 0.2% power is, that fraction is goes in joule heating. Okay, if the wiring is made of aluminium, so what can we do? Power consumption in the aluminium power is given by PAL equal to 4 into rho Al upon, because resistance, all things are same, dimensions are same. Okay, if we take the ratio, we will only deal with, if we will take the ratio of power consumed in the aluminium and copper, we will take the ratio of resistivities, because all the dimensions will cancel out, they are same. Okay, so rho Al upon rho Cu, put the values, you will get 4 into 1.6. So power consumed in aluminium wire is equal to 6.4 joule per second. So fractional loss due to joule heating in the aluminium wire will be PAL upon P into 100. 6.4 upon 2000 into 1000. 0.32% power is lost in joule heating in wires. Means due to heat, that amount of, that fraction of power is lost. So next question. Its part A is consider circuit in figure. How much energy is absorbed by the electrons from the initial state of no current to the state of drift velocity. Diagram is given 3.10. B part is electron give up energy at the rate of Ri square per second to the thermal energy. What time scale would one associate with energy in problem A, where n is number of electron per volume, that is number density of electron, which is given 10 raised power 29 per meter cube. Length of circuit is 10 centimeter and cross sectional area is 1 millimeter square. So let's see the solution. Using concept 17.2, 17.5 and 17.16. What is the thinking process for this question? The current in a conductor and drift velocity of electron are related as I equal to NEA Vd, where Vd is the drift speed of the electrons and N is the number density of electrons. So we'll use this formula. So by Ohm's law, current I is given by, because there is 6 volt battery, resistance is 6 ohm. So current in the circuit is given by 1 ampere. Now current is related with drift velocity I equal to NE VDA, or we can say Vd equal to I upon NEA. On substituting the values, N is given 10 raised power 29 per meter cube, length of the circuit is given 10 centimeter and cross sectional area is given 1 millimeter square. Convert all the units into SI units and put in the equation. So Vd equal to 1 by 10 raised power 29 into 1.6 into 10 raised power minus 19 into 10 raised power minus 6. So Vd will become equal to 1 by 1.6 into 10 raised power minus 4 meter per second. Therefore, the energy absorbed in the form of kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equal to half me Vd square. That is the energy of one electron into capital N, which is number of electron in the conductor. Okay, so where N is the number of electron in the conductor. So kinetic energy is given by half me Vd square into small n is number density, number of electron per unit volume, into Al, which is volume. So number of n, number of particles per volume into volume will become capital N, number of electrons. Put all the values. So putting all the values given in the question or we have calculated, we will get kinetic energy as 2 into 10 raised power minus 17 joule. Okay, so power loss is given by P equal to Ri square, B part. 6 into 1 square equal to 6 watt or 6 joule per second. In second part, we have to calculate the time scale for which this energy is absorbed. Okay, initially energy is absorbed due to drift velocity. So how much kinetic energy is absorbed by electrons, we have calculated. Now, for how much time, in which time scale this energy is being absorbed, we have to calculate the time. Since P equal to energy upon time, or we can say time is equal to energy upon power. So what is the energy absorbed? 2 into 10 is power minus 17 joule. Or what is the power? Ri square per second? 6 joule per second. That is 6 watt. So dividing it will result in 3.34 into 10 is power minus 18 seconds. Got it? For that time scale, that energy is absorbed. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session.